Welcome back to the Enfield Talking newspaper. Now we return to local news with Janet.
A dentist from Southgate is gearing up to cycle 100 kilometres across London in a bid to raise money for charity. Dr. Ketan Shah, 37, of Crown Lane, is to take his Trek racing bike around the capital during the London Night Rider event in a bid to raise money for bowel and cancer research. I took part in the event last year for the first time, said Dr. Shah, who practices at Brightside Dental in Maidstone Road, Bounds Green. I didn't really cycle much before then, just a few miles to and from work. Last year he raised money for Bridge to Aid, a charity which provides emergency dental training to health workers in remote communities across the globe. This year I decided to do it again, for another charity. We support quite a few charities at work, but this required more personal involvement. It also helps me to keep fit and provides a challenge. The dentist chose bowel and cancer research because several of his family members have suffered from the disease and from inflammatory bowel disease. The 37-year-old suffers from ulcerative colitis, an incurable condition which causes the intestines to become inflamed and affects an estimated 120,000 people across Britain. Dr. Shah added, "I'm fortunate that I'm generally able to manage it well and it doesn't impact on my day-to-day activities. But for many people the symptoms can be much more severe." Mr. Shah will set off from Alexandra Palace in Wood Green and will ride across the capital, passing landmarks including Piccadilly Circus, the London Eye, the Houses of Parliament, St Paul's Cathedral, as well as the Olympic Stadium in Stratford. He is hoping to return to Alexandra Palace by 8 a.m, where he'll be cheered home by his wife Rena and his children.
An Edmonton teenager revealed that he felt like a pro after taking part in a special football match for visually impaired children at Chelsea Football Club. Theo Sergio, 13, from Edmonton, took part in the Pan Disability match that was organised by Chelsea Football Club Foundation and Blind Children UK. The match was part of a campaign to help raise awareness of challenges faced by children with visual impairments. Theo said, "Sometimes my vision impairment can make me feel a bit different to other children, but this wasn't the case at the training session at Chelsea. We all had a really good time and were made to feel like pros." Theo's uncle, Andreas Kudanis, added, "It was such a great experience even for me, and I wasn't taking part. The coaches were fantastic, and Andy Rose in particular was inspirational." The match used a specially designed football that has a bell inside to help players locate it by sound. Lord Chris Holmes, Paralympian and Ambassador for Blind Children UK, said, "Sight loss can leave children feeling isolated and afraid. I know this from personal experience. Blind Children UK helps give children the skills, confidence and support to enable them to enjoy their childhood and reach their full potential."
A councillor who was barred from standing for the Conservative Party in this year's local elections has been found in breach of the Councillor Code of Conduct for a string of comments and images that appeared on his personal Facebook account. In a report from Enfield Council's Councillor Conduct Committee, which met on April the 30th, it was stated that Chris Joannides, who had been an independent councillor in Grange Ward until May the 22nd, had failed to act in accordance with the public trust in him, failed to act in the interests of the London Borough of Enfield, and failed to treat people with respect regardless of their race and religion. Mr. Joannides had the Conservative whip removed by the Tory group on the council in February 2013 after an internal investigation found against him. Enfield Council did not launch an in-depth probe into the allegations until police had concluded that they were taking no further action. Mr. Joannides was expelled from the National Conservative Party in February after he was selected by the Tory Association in Enfield Southgate to stand for re-election in May's local elections. Mr. Joannides is no longer a councillor, and the committee's report concludes by saying that his sanctions for breaching the councillor code of conduct are for the findings to be released to the local media. And even though he spent a year sitting as an independent councillor, the councillor's report says that a letter would be sent to the leader of the Conservative group, the political group on which Councillor Joannides was a member at the time of the incident.
Characters based on washed-up celebrities, 1970s hits and memorabilia is the way the Principal Theatre Company has decided to portray its latest production. This year, the Open Air Company, which performs annually at Enfield's Capel Manor, Old Ashmolean Rugby Club in Southgate and Corham's Fields near Russell Square in central London, is staging its interpretation of William Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor. Original director Christopher Geelan has returned to the fold, meaning that artistic director Paul Gladwin, who has taken charge of productions in recent years, can reprise his role as Sir John Falstaff, whom he played in the company's original production of Henry IV. Speaking to the Advertiser during rehearsals, Chris said, "It was the first Shakespearean play I ever saw. I laughed until I cried. I came away not believing it could be written by Shakespeare. I went back to the script to see if it was all made up." Now he's taken on the play, which was the Bard's only comedy based in England, for the first time, and set it in more recent times, during the Queen's Silver Jubilee celebrations in 1977. The play includes Falstaff trying to lure two married women to commit adultery and their collusion to expose his ways, while three other men are competing for the affections of one of the women's daughters. It's very much like a 1970s sitcom I used to love. Every part in this play is a gem to comedy, said Chris. Audiences can be expected to receive an onslaught of 1970s nostalgia, including adaptations of Barry White's My Everything and Brotherhood of Man's Eurovision Song Contest winner, Save Your Kisses for Me. Those who didn't live through the 1970s will get to be introduced to them, while others will be able to reminisce, added Chris. The first performance takes place at Capel Manor in Balsmore Lane from June the 17th to the 29th. Tickets cost £13, concessions and under 16s £11, and are available from 020 8807 6680 or via www.millfieldartscentre.co.uk. The production moves to Old Ashmolean Rugby Football Club in the Bourne from July the 9th for 4 days, before heading to Corham's Fields from July the 17th to August the 2nd, where tickets are a little bit more expensive. They're £16 for adults and £13 for concessions.
An Enfield primary school was given the chance to represent Tottenham Hotspur at one of the best grounds in the Premier League. Boys from Capel Manor Primary School in Balsmore Lane took part in the Premier League school tournament at the Etihad Stadium, home of Manchester City FC. After beating competition for 49 other local schools in the qualifying round, the Capel Manor under-11s team finished third in their group. The team was also able to use the Premier League-sized changing rooms and walk down the tunnel onto the pitch. Tottenham Hotspur Foundation's Chief Executive Grant Cornwall said, "The team did a fantastic job of representing Spurs. They played really well throughout the competition and showed outstanding attitude and sportsmanship both on and off the pitch. They should be proud of their achievements in reaching the finals of the Premier League Schools Tournament, and we hope they enjoyed the experience of playing at the Etihad Stadium." The tournament saw all 20 Premier League clubs select a boys and girls team from their local schools to play in the competition. Spurs were also represented by Fortismere Academy under-13s girls team.
A community vineyard has won cash and business advice from a London-wide initiative providing support to the capital's small food enterprises. The 40 Hall Community Vineyard was one of 32 organisations to make successful applications to urban food routes from more than 80 contenders. Winemakers at the venue will be given up to £8,000 in cash, as well as business advice and mentoring. The 40 Hall Vineyard describes itself as a community-led horticultural enterprise which aims to deliver social, health and well-being benefits, as well as producing award-winning wine for the London market.
Enfield MPs will be padding up for a cricket match to promote a youth unemployment scheme for the second year running. Enfield North MP Nick Dubois and Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows will be joined by Edmonton MP Andy Love for the cricket match in aid of the Making a Difference charity. The cause, which aims to bring young and old together to help young people into employment, launched its inaugural match last year at Holtwhite's Cricket Club in Kirkland Drive, Enfield. The over 50s who are unemployed to mentor young people and prepare them for the working world. As well as the cricket match, the event will see live entertainment, music and a raffle on June the 20th. Last time out, Mr. Dubois' team swept Mr. Burrows' team aside with a convincing win, and he will be hoping to make it 2 in a row.
The versatile James Hawes has become Enfield Town Football Club's first signing of the summer, after joining the club from Ryman Premier Division rivals Canvey Island. Hawes, who can play either in defence or midfield, played under town boss George Borg at Braintree Town, where he gained Conference South experience, and has also had spells with Sutton United and Concord Rangers, in addition to being a part of Billericay Town's Ryman Premier Division title-winning side in 2012. As well as his playing role, the 28-year-old is also set to help out with the coaching, and Borg is convinced that he will prove a fine addition to the squad. James is a great lad and worked well with me at Braintree, the manager said. He's a wealth of experience which will help bring on the younger players. I know he enjoys coaching and he will work well with Brad Quinton and the rest of the coaching staff to get the best from the players. The signing is a great start to building the squad up for the season ahead. With 2 or 3 more coming in, we have exciting times ahead. Meanwhile, Enfield Town have confirmed their first 3 pre-season friendlies ahead of the new campaign. They will play outside of the United Kingdom for the first time in their history when they visit Belgium outfit SK Beveren on July the 26th and face further away matches at Boreham Wood on July the 12th and Harlow Town on July the 19th. Joe Stevens was named the Players' Player of the Year when Town held their end-of-season awards. Matt Kirby was named Supporters' Player of the Year, while the Goal of the Season award went to Corey Whiteley for his effort in the home game against Hampton and Richmond Borough.
A mother has spoken of her agony after watching footage of her autistic son being assaulted by his carer. Sean Mullen, 28, from Oakwood, was slapped repeatedly by a care worker at his former day centre in Walthamstow last summer. A member of staff caught the shocking incident on camera, and Sean's mother, Rose, told the Enfield Independent how she felt watching the footage, which revealed the abuse her son was subjected to. She said, "I was on holiday for the first time in about 10 years when I got a call from the centre saying that it had been an incident involving Sean, but everything was okay. Because Sean can get a little violent sometimes, we weren't sure whether to give the benefit of the doubt to the worker until we saw the video. It was absolutely horrific to watch, and I can't tell you how disgusted I was watching someone do that to my son. It was like one of those videos you see on Panorama about care workers abusing the elderly, but it was much, much worse." Mrs. Mullen revealed that because of Sean's condition, he hasn't been able to express what happened, but believes this is not the first time the care worker has abused people. She said to have a camera ready to record this tells us that this is not the first time he has done something to someone in his care. Lozonsky denied common assault, but was found guilty of the charge on April the 18th and is due to be sentenced at Thames Magistrates Court. Mrs. Mullen claims that he denied the assault because the video did not show his face clearly. Now Sean has found another place at an Enfield care home, Mrs. Mullen said. We are happy that he's been able to move to a different care home in Enfield, and this man has got his just deserts. The care home in Walthamstow has closed as a result of the investigations.
A dental crown worn by Elvis Presley came to Bounds Green to raise awareness of mouth cancer. Brightside Dental Practice was the only London dental practice to receive the false tooth, nicknamed the King's Crown, as it toured the nation. The practice carried out free mouth cancer screenings, and patients were photographed with the crown and sung to by an Elvis impersonator. Elvis's crown was made by the star's former dentist, Henry J. Weiss, and is currently owned by Canadian dentist Michael Zook, who bought it for £6,500. Mr. Zook, who also owns John Lennon's teeth, said, "If you're going to buy teeth, you're going to buy the most famous teeth in the world, yep." Ketan Shah, a dentist at Brightside Practice, said the day was a fun one, but the underlying message was serious. He said people often aren't aware of mouth cancer because they don't have any pain or problems. When there are symptoms, the cancer is often at a later stage, but the risks can be reduced hugely if it's caught at an early stage. Mr. Shah said the cancer is more common in smokers, heavy drinkers and people with poor diets, but can affect anyone, including young people. He added, "If we can help even one person, it will be worth it."
Organisers of a 24-hour charity event have reassured runners that it will go ahead. Confusion surrounding the Relay for Life, due to be held in Edmonton in June, had arisen after mass advertising for the Race for Life led to people signing up for the wrong event. Race for Life is a women-only event, while Relay for Life is a 24-hour, non-stop event open to both men and women. Both are organised by Cancer Research UK. Organisers remain confident that the Relay for Life in Jubilee Park, Hounsfield Road, Edmonton, will go ahead and are appealing for people to sign up. It is due to begin at 12 p.m. on Saturday, June the 21st, and finish at 12 p.m. on Sunday, June the 22nd.
A man who fraudulently claimed almost £7,000 in benefits and then skipped court has been brought to justice. David Anikwa of High Street, Ponders End, failed to attend a court case 2.5 years ago to answer the charges against him. He was tracked down, and last month at Tottenham Magistrates Court he pleaded guilty to dishonestly failing to notify Enfield Council and the Department for Work and Pensions that he had become a student and received £20,701 in student loans and grants between 2007 and 2010. He fraudulently claimed £5,157.97 in housing benefit between 2008 and 2010, and £1,715.41 in job seekers allowance between 2006 and 2010. On May the 22nd, he was sentenced to a 24-month conditional discharge and ordered to pay £200 costs to the court within 28 days. Andrew Stafford, Enfield Labour Group spokesman for Finance and Property, said, "It's great news to know that yet another fraudster has been caught and stopped from claiming benefits to which they are not entitled. As well as the sentence handed down by the courts, we will do everything in our power to recoup this stolen money. We will not rest until every benefit fraudster living in Enfield has been tracked down and stopped."
Schools in Enfield have been recognised as being good at gold in sporting competition. 15 schools won gold medals in the National School Games Kite Mark Awards, giving Enfield the highest number of successful applications of any borough in England. 26 schools also achieved a bronze level award. The National School Games Kite Mark Award is a government award scheme to reward schools committed to developing competition within their school and community. Schools can win bronze, silver or gold. Requirements for the Gold Award include having active links with sports clubs, ensuring pupils enjoy at least 2 hours of PE a week, enabling at least 70% of children to take part in extracurricular sporting activities each month, and establishing a school sports organising committee. Schools also need to organise a range of sporting competitions for everyone and create B, C and D teams. Schools in Enfield that receive the Gold Award are Enfield Grammar, Brettenham, St James, Forty Hill, St Monica's, Eversley, Wesley, Durrance, Russet House, Eldon Junior, Grange Park, Cuckoo Hall, Merry Hills, St John's and Suffolk's. Enfield Borough Council Cabinet Member for Children and Young People said, "This is a tremendous achievement and emphasises the strong partnership working between the council and schools in the borough. We are committed to providing young people with the support they need to get into good habits at an early age, and nurturing a love of exercise is something that will stand them in good stead in their later years."
More than 100 pupils from across London descended on a Scouts Park in Bounds Green for a national first aid competition. The competition, run by St John's Ambulance, saw pupils from 12 primary schools and secondary schools come to Bounds Green Scout Park in Gordon Road to pit their skills against each other in a series of real-life scenarios. The scenarios included emergencies such as major bleeding, asthma attacks and unconsciousness. The winners from the primary and secondary school sections will enter the national final at Drayton Manor Theme Park next month. Mary Smith, project manager at St John's Ambulance London, said, "More than 470 schools across London have signed up for their pupils to learn emergency life support skills, so it's wonderful to see these skills put to the test in real-life emergency scenarios. We know from our work teaching life-saving skills in schools that it's crucial we equip youngsters in this way so that they can pass on their skills to the community. It's incredible when I hear firsthand the stories of our young people using their skills to help people in an emergency." Other activities included cardiopulmonary resuscitation demonstrations and defibrillator practice.
The race is on once more to find the greenest-fingered people in Enfield. This year's Enfield in Bloom competition will run from June the 23rd and July the 4th, and Enfield Borough Council is on the lookout for the best gardeners in town. Councillor Chris Bond, Cabinet Member for Environment, said, "Every year Enfield does us proud with an exceptionally high standard of entries for this competition. Enfield is, without doubt, one of the greenest boroughs in London, and I would urge all local residents, schools and businesses to dust off their gardening gloves and enter."
5 men who were part of a gang which imported £250,000 worth of cannabis from South Africa into the UK have been jailed. The 5 were sentenced to a combined total of 19 years and 6 months in prison at Wood Green Crown Court, following an investigation by the Metropolitan Police's London Crime Squad, which uncovered a network that organised the import and dispatch of the drug to addresses across North London. Victor Ogu, 35, of Forest Road, Edmonton, was jailed for 5 years after pleading guilty to conspiracy to import controlled drugs into the UK on the first day of the trial. Obima Nwokari, 23, of Bowood Road, Brimsdown, was sentenced to 2 years behind bars after pleading guilty to the same charge, and Bonnie Nwusu, 32, of Park Lane, Waltham Cross, was sentenced to 6.5 years in prison after also pleading guilty. Chigbo Owu, 43, of Winton Close, Edmonton, and Chinedu Okafor, 32, of Kimberley Road, Edmonton, both of whom had denied conspiracy to import drugs, were found guilty by a unanimous verdict following a 3-week trial. Owu was jailed for 3 years and 3 months, and Okafor was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison. In the course of the investigation, police gathered evidence from mobile phones, computers, documentary exhibits, financial information, and international travel documents. Nwusu, Ogu, and Nwokari were arrested on November the 14th last year, following police raids during which substantial amounts of drugs and cash, valued at more than £250,000, were seized. Owu and Okafor were charged following a later police operation. Nwusu and Ogu were identified as the network's masterminds. Commenting on the verdict, Acting Detective Superintendent Neil Thompson, who leads the squad, said, "By removing these criminal networks, we are disrupting the lucrative supply of drugs from other countries onto our streets. I hope those involved will take the time to reflect on their actions and make efforts to change their lifestyle, as our dedication in pursuing them will never cease." We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Janet, Sally, Colin, Keith and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.